Welcome to Papillion Unscripted. I'm Michael Severe, a place to come to hear from people who truly help make Papillion feel like home. Very special guest joining us now, the softball star, of course, state champion, Papillion-La Vista with the Monarchs, and now a national champion with Oklahoma. Joining us now, Jordyn Bahl. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate I'm guessing these last few weeks have just been crazy.
Yeah. I'm glad to be home though, for sure.
Yeah. You were injured, obviously, towards the end of the year. Did you know you'd be back in time for the tournament? What was the plan?
No. So when I first injured my arm and I found out it ended up being a stress fracture, usually like the only thing you can do for that is rest, but we were just entering postseason. And so I took a little bit of time off, but was going to do everything I could to get back. But seriously, 3 weeks before the championship game, like I couldn't throw 10 pitches in a bullpen. Yeah. So I give all the glory to God for that one, for just healing me and giving me the strength to push through and be able to compete.
What was the feeling like? Were you nervous? Were you worried? What was the feeling?
Honestly, just full of excitement when I got out there because, like I said, I didn't think I was going to be able to. And so when I got out there, adrenaline took over and it just felt like normal.
Biggest adjustment going from, obviously you're great in high school, but what was the biggest adjustment just getting used to college ball?
Probably just the fact that you're away from home. That was the biggest thing for me. And then at the end of practice, if you didn't have a great practice, you come home to your dorm room like by yourself. You have your roommates, but just maturing in the aspect of you are by yourself now, and you don't have your parents to talk to or your brothers to talk to when you come home. Like I would give them phone calls and everything, but just kind of having to mature to be on your own.
Being on a really good team, being a freshman, a newcomer, were you accepted right away? Was there razzing? What was that like?
Yeah, our senior class and our upperclassmen were absolutely incredible. There was no like seclusiveness or anything based off like the young kids and the older kids, the upperclassmen. But honestly, they took everyone under their wing, and from like the get-go, they were having us over for dinner. They were like showing us the way in practice, like all through warm-ups. Like freshman duties were setting up for practice. We had to get the buckets out, we had to get the bands out, everything. And like the oldest girl on the team was the one that would come early and help us that first week and show us like how everything runs. So yeah, no seclusiveness whatsoever. Like we were just one big team, and honestly, like if you didn't know what grade people were, like you would have no idea the way we interacted.
I want to go back because with softball and volleyball both, they recruit so early. You hear about 6th, 7th grade. What was the first contact you received? What was that like, knowing that these colleges wanted you at a young age?
Yeah, well, at a young age, the summer after my 8th grade year, I actually committed to Nebraska.
Right.
Yeah, and so having to make the decision to reopen my recruitment was really hard because I love Nebraska. I want nothing than the best for this state. But at the same time, I was so young when I made that decision that by the time I was a junior in high school, like I felt like a completely different person, and so much had changed in between then. And so I just wanted to make sure that wherever I ended up was going to be the best personal fit for me. And so I made that decision, but I love the rule because kids are so young, and no one when they're in 8th grade knows what they want to do with the rest of their life or even like through college. So it's definitely a good rule, and it's just kind of crazy. Like even I feel like even juniors in high school like are still, they don't know, but it's definitely a good rule, and it needed to be in place.
What were like the internal and external pressures to go to Nebraska? Obviously, being one of the best players in the state, or the best player in the state. What was it like? You heard from friends, family. What was that like?
It's every kid's dream to play for Nebraska when you are growing up here. So it was a no doubter in my mind at that time.
Going through your stats, right? Obviously, they're silly. There's nothing to compare it to except for maybe Peaches, who also went to your school. But your junior year, you were amazing. Like it was .13, and then it was .10 your senior year. Can you compare and contrast those 2 years? What were different about them? What was similar?
I would say the flip switched after my sophomore year when we got upset in the state championship to Lincoln Southwest, and that was just a feeling that we had a really big class. Like my senior class was huge, and so a lot of us were freshmen through senior year like all together. And so after that sophomore year, a lot of us just were like, okay, we never want to feel that again. So I think consecutively, like all of us just kind of put our heads down and made that decision that that wasn't going to happen again. And so between the junior and senior year, I don't know if there was like a big difference like mentally. Besides our junior year, we were out for revenge, and then our senior year, the target on our back was even bigger. And so we just accepted that pressure that comes with it, and just build off it.
Mayor was in earlier and we were chatting about, you have this pressure game by game, pitch by pitch to be perfect almost. What's that like as, a 16, 17-year-old to know every time you went out there, people expect you to give up nothing?
Right. You just have to understand that everyone strives for perfection, but no one meets perfection. And so obviously you want to do your best to go out there, but at the end of the day you just have to compete. And you don't have to be perfect, you just have to compete a lot of the times. And especially as a pitcher, like you can be trying to throw like a rise ball inside and still miss rise ball outside or a little lower than you want, and you can still get away with it and beat a batter and no one's going to know besides you. So especially like knowing that, like you can get away with making little mistakes, but if you're competing, but like if you're passive or unsure and you throw a pitch, that's when it's going to get exploited and the batter's going to take advantage of that. But more so, instead of being perfect, just staying competitive is a big thing.
Who do you lean on? We talk so much now, especially after COVID, about mental health and making sure that you stay. Who do you lean on in those times of pressure and making sure that you feel good about yourself mentally?
Yeah, I love my softball teammates and everything. I can talk to them about whatever I want, but I also like to have people outside of the softball that I can just get away from it. And for me, that's my oldest brother, Hayden. He knows everything. I tell him, he always knows what I'm going through, the highs, the lows. I probably talk to him more than I talk to my parents when I'm at school. But yeah, he's always a phone call away. He always answers no matter what time it is, unless he's doing something. He's a busy kid too, but him for sure.
I mentioned earlier about Peaches James, same school. Have you ever chatted with her? Because she's one of the few people that really can relate to what you're going through when you were in high school.
Yeah, a few times I have. She's shown up at some events throughout high school because she keeps herself in the game. She gives back to it for sure. So I've seen her around and I've talked to her there. But I'm just thankful for her and like the success that she had because it gave people like me something to shoot for. And so I just hope that at the end of the day I can be that person to someone too. But I just big role model and I look up to her for that and just the way she continues to get back to the game.
I know you haven't been in the state of Oklahoma for a long time, but what's in the water for women's softball? Because Division I, I think Division II and NIA all won those. What is about softball in Oklahoma?
Yeah, well, obviously, not all our girls are from the Midwest,
sure, right.
but there's a big chunk of our girls from the Midwest, and I think that people are just starting to see that the Midwest just has great athletes. Like a lot of the time, especially in softball, girls, amazing players are coming out of California, they're coming out of Texas, like East Coast, West Coast, down south, but a lot of times the Midwest gets overlooked. But I think coaches are starting to see the talent that's in the Midwest and the work ethic and the blue collarness that we have here, and they're starting to implement that in their programs.
I remember when NIL was first talked about, and I was doing a radio show at the time, and people would call, it's just going to be for football and just men's basketball. And I said, people love women's sports, especially here in Nebraska and other places. What was the first year for you like NIL-wise?
NIL-wise, I didn't really think about it a lot throughout the season. I was like, it's my freshman year.
Sure.
I have accomplished absolutely nothing yet. Like, I'm just going to go out and ball, like, play the game just for the love of it, which I think everyone needs to do no matter how much money you make with NIL or anything like that. But towards the end of the year, I started looking at it more, but I like NIL, especially for female athletes, because it's an opportunity for them to make money in their sport, whereas men have way more opportunity to do that. So I think it's a really great opportunity for them, but like I said, I like it. I think girls and female athletes who can use it should use it, but at the end of the day, you can never let it become why you play or let it distract from the ultimate goal.
From what you've seen of it, is it an easy process for the athlete?
At the end of the day, yeah. I mean, girls can really get overwhelmed with it. If you solely focus on that, you can really get your hands full. But I think it's just about keeping your house in order and making sure that softball stays the first priority. Yeah.
As we're taping this, you have Oklahoma getting ready to play in the College World Series Finals. Do you have any friends on the team? Have you made any friends? What do you think about that? Are you going to go to any games?
Yeah, I went to one game with my brother, their semifinal game, but I do know some people on the team, and I'm just really excited for them because they were not expected to, I don't even know, make it out of the regional. They've been the big underdog, and I think that's awesome. Everyone loves the underdog story, but it's really cool because of the season that they had and now how they're finishing super hot and they're peaking at the right time. Just really exciting for them. They have a lot of momentum. They're playing really clean baseball. And one thing I love about that team is that they're not super flashy. They just go out there, they go about their business, and they get it done. And so that's really cool to see.
It's one of the coolest finals we've had. Ole Miss wasn't expected to be there either. It's kind of weird to think about. So what's next? I mean, you have a pretty good, successful freshman year. Just going to do it all over again?
Yeah, I mean, we're a team full of competitors. And so we're just going to go out there and keep doing what we do and not ever try to look in the rearview mirror. That's one big thing that they talked about this year is we don't want to look in the rearview mirror because for everyone who wasn't a freshman, like they were going back to back, and so it's easy to look back and try to top that. But I think each year you just have to approach it as this is a new year. We're not going to try to top anything we did last year or the year even before that, but we're just going to be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
How different will the team be? You mentioned seniors. Did you guys have a lot of them?
Yeah, we had, I think, 5 super seniors who have left, but we got a few girls out of the portal who are good players, and we'll have some younger girls step up too. So we should be solid.
I always ask this question, being from here, is there an event, an activity, a place that you like to highlight as somebody from Papillion? Like if you had somebody come visit you from Oklahoma that you take them to, what is it in Papillion that you want to point out?
Well, a big thing this year was Papillion Days.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was super cool. I told all the girls about that because like the last 10 years I haven't been able to go because of softball, but this year I finally could, and so that's a big one I talked to them about. But then I live in like the south side of Papillion, and so you go a little bit further south and beautiful like dirt roads, like I watch a ton of sunsets out there, and so I would always tell the girls, yeah, we need to go watch some sunsets, like the Midwest, Nebraska sunsets, that you can't beat them. So,
do you plan on being, you mentioned Peaches staying in the game, do you see yourself staying in the game once you're done with college?
I would like to, because like I said, I looked up to Peaches a lot, and I want to be that girl to other people, and really, there were so many people in my life as I was growing up that really gave in to me and gave me a lot of opportunity and showed me the way, and I want to do that to younger girls as well.
That's awesome. The fact that you were a national Gatorade player back-to-back in the year, you had the success, and you have this humbleness to you. Does it come from your parents? Where do you think that comes from?
My parents, my family, but then also just knowing that none of these things are because of me. Like, athletes can work hard and everything, but at the end of the day, it's the good Lord that gives you the abilities, and He's the one that keeps you in the game, and He showed me that even this postseason when I was injured. A big thing I did was just surrender to Him and be like, Lord, I know that You have the power to fix this arm overnight if You wanted to, but the fact that You're not is, You're showing me a lesson, You're reminding me that all the glory goes to You always, and so no matter what the outcome is in this injury, like, I'm still going to give the glory to You, whether I make it back out on the field or not. So just knowing that it comes from something so much bigger than you, I think is just a really humbling feeling.
Important for you to give your testimony to others?
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having
taking
me.
the time. It's nice meeting you.
Thank you.
I always
Nice
forget
to
about
meet you.
shaking hands now because of COVID. We never shook hands.
Yeah, no, I like the handshakes.
Yeah,
it's good.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
We appreciate Jordyn coming on with us. Again, join us next time we talk to someone who truly makes Papillion feel like home.